Welcome back to Unlimited Reads. You're with Chris, and thanks for joining me today because I will be doing the beginning of the year book tag, which should be a lot of fun. Now, I saw this tag over at Bookables, and she has been doing BookTube for a lot of years. She has really good content there, and you should really check her out. And with this tag, there are 18 prompts in total. So let's get stuck in with the first prompt, which is: how many books are you planning on reading in 2025? Now, before I answer this one, I will say up front that I am not participating in the Goodreads challenge this year. I'm not putting that kind of pressure on myself. In fact, I have taken a step back from using Goodreads. Instead, I have been using a really good spreadsheet to track my reading, which I bought at the end of 2023 and used exclusively last year, which suits my needs really, really well. Now, I am planning on reading 100 books this year. Now, last year I only read 48, but a lot of the books I read last year were bricks and epic fantasy and so forth. And this year, because I'm putting a lot of emphasis on manga and middle grade in particular, where a lot of those books are very short, I feel like 100 books this year is very, very reachable, especially since if I read One Piece, for instance, which I've mentioned in my reading plans for February video. If you haven't caught that one yet, I'm reading the omnibus editions, and each omnibus contains 3 volumes of One Piece, and if I'm reading 3 omnibus editions in February, for instance, that's 9 volumes in total. So it all counts, right? And there are already this month so far, there have been short books I've read as well, which is going towards that total. So I think 100 books is a nice round figure and very easily achievable. Okay, prompt number 2, a book you're likely to reread this year. Now, I reread a couple of Stephen King books last year. I reread Christine, Salem's Lot, and Pet Sematary, which I enjoyed, and I have been thinking about reading The Stand again for quite some time. I have several versions there. I've got a really nice A-format paperback copy that I've got my eye on, and I need to prioritise it this year and get stuck in. So that's probably going to be my main reread for the year. Prompt number 3, a priority read on your 2025 TBR. I think for me, I've been putting it off, and it needs to be Dune by Frank Herbert. It is a most respected and revered book. It's a very popular book. It has endured through decades of popularity, and I have to finally jump on that bandwagon, and hopefully this year will be the year that I crack that bad boy open. Prompt number 4, an author you won't be reading more books from this year. Can't really think of an answer for that one. I didn't really dislike much from any author last year, although the latest Jack Reacher book did let me down a bit, but I'll still be reading Lee and Andrew Child this year. But for that one, there's no author I wouldn't read next year because all my reading I did enjoy last year. So a bit of a short answer to that one. Prompt number 5, something new you want to read. This could be new genres or tropes. I think for me, it's in recent years I've gotten out of my comfort zone and I've read classics and things like that, and this year I think I have to explore the romance genre, which is something I never thought I would explore, and I'm probably going to look at authors such as Chloe Walsh and Nicholas Sparks just to see what the fuss is all about. And especially since romantasy in particular has overtaken the book market in a massive way, I might actually, don't laugh, but I might pick up Rebecca Yarros and just see what all the fuss is about, because she's gone viral and you see her books everywhere and everyone's talking about them. So we'll just see. Prompt number 6, a popular book you want to read. Now, I would love to read Son of the Black Sword by Larry Correia, which is book 1 of the Song of the Forgotten Warrior series, which has been recommended by Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews. It reads like a fantasy but a fast-paced thriller, so if it reads that way, I'm there, and I can't wait to pick it up. I'm not sure when at this stage, but it is definitely going to be this year. Okay, prompt number 7, most anticipated 2025 book release. For me, this is The End of the World as We Know It, which is a compilation of short stories from a whole raft of internationally acclaimed writers, personally endorsed by Stephen King. This book will contain stories set within the Stand universe, which I'm really excited about. It is the most exciting book that I am anticipating this year. It comes out in August, and I just can't help but speculate and imagine what stories will be in here. Now, I have shared the list of stories in a previous video. If you haven't caught that, it's just really exciting because we might get to revisit the characters. And the span of these stories goes from the current happenings in the Stand back to the original book, right through 2 years after the event. So it's so exciting. Are we going to see Mother Abigail again? Are we going to see Stu Redman and all the other characters? It remains to be seen. But it is about 800 pages, and it's going to be thick, and it's going to be just chock full of stories from the Stand, which I just can't wait to get my hands on it. I have pre-ordered it already, and I just can't wait to dive in. Prompt number 8, a bookish goal for 2025. For me, it's going to be making sure I read enough material so that I have enough to draw upon to do a decent bookish awards ceremony at the end of the year. I felt that last year I didn't read enough to warrant having enough books in each category, so I ended up not doing my Bookish Brilliance Awards last year. I will be doing them this year, so I'm going to make sure that each category that I had in the previous awards will be in this year. So I'm just going to make sure I read a lot so that I can have a decent list of contenders and nominees for the awards and for the winners of each category. So I'm going to make sure I read enough to do that. That's the main goal for me this year. Prompt number 9, a book that's been on your TBR you probably won't ever read. That's probably going to be Lord of the Rings. I've been wanting to read it for years. I just haven't managed to get to it. I know it's a time management thing and I need to prioritize it, but it's one of those books that I keep putting off and putting off and putting off. And will I read it before I die? I don't know, but that's probably the main book I would select for that answer. Prompt number 10, a series you want to read this year. Now, I want to read Repairman Jack. I have discussed all the series I want to read this year in previous videos, but Repairman Jack has come up on my radar recently thanks to John over at Talking Story, who recommended the series to me, and I started by reading the first book, which was called The Tomb, and I have cracked open the second book called Legacies, and I just love Repairman Jack. He is such a well-rounded character, and he has gotten under my skin, but in a really good way, and can't wait to read more of his books. And there are 16 books in the main series. There are spin-off series where there are quick fixes, and there are also books around when he was younger as well, and I'm just hooked. I love the series, so thanks John for the recommendation, and I'm glad I've picked it up and will be continuing to read that this year. Prompt number 11, your auto by authors going into 2025. Well, that's pretty simple. Stephen King, Lee and Andrew Child, maybe, if the next Jack Reacher book is better than the last one. Brandon Sanderson, Andrews and Wilson, who are contributors to the Ryanverse, as well as MP Woodward, who is also a contributor to the Ryanverse, who in particular is writing the Jack Ryan Jr. books. So always going to be auto by authors for me. Prompt number 12, a book to show adaptation you're excited about this year. Coming up next month, we have Reacher Season 3, which I'm hotly anticipating, and that is based on Persuader, which is one of the books in the series, where Jack Reacher comes up against Paulie, who is the villain, who is taller and wider and stronger than Reacher, who will give him a bit of a run, I think. So that is probably the most anticipated show I am looking forward to this year. Prompt number 13, a sequel you're anticipating this year. That would have to be Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill, book 2 in the Bound and the Broken series. Can't wait to get stuck in. In fact, that is on my February TBR, which I've just released recently, if you haven't caught that, and really looking forward to that one. Prompt number 14, bookish things you're leaving in 2024. I think for me it's reducing pressure on myself. Getting the content out when I can, not being as rigid in getting the content out on a specific time and day, just going with the flow a little bit, making things a little bit more organic. I'm going to be relying less on scripting for my videos as well, which will make things run a bit more smoother. I'm going to be doing more reading vlogs rather than book reviews themselves. So I'm changing up a couple of things just to make things a little bit easier so I can work smarter, not harder, because there were a couple of instances in 2024 where I did find myself burnt out a little bit and got into reading slumps and things like that. I don't want a reading slump in 2025. I've got 100 books to read, and just want to enjoy my reading, which will be the main thing for me. Prompt number 15, what to expect from this account, being my channel. I would hopefully expect 1,000 subscribers. That would be great, because I have repeatedly said that if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a drunk Q&A live stream celebration blowout with invited guests, which will be great. That's the main goal. But the other goal is to connect with more people as well, and just share my thoughts and impressions on books and just keep the channel going, basically. Prompt number 16, how has your reading taste evolved from last year? It hasn't really evolved much. I'm still going to be doing a fair bit of fantasy this year, but I'm also going to be doing a bit more middle grade and manga, so my tastes have changed a little bit in that respect. Just going to make sure that I explore those genres a bit more. I'm going to be reading One Piece, I'm going to be reading David Williams, I want to read The Wizard of Oz, I want to read Percy Jackson, Inkheart, Skullduggery Pleasant, which will all go towards my total of 100 book goal to read this year, and I'm really looking forward to branching out a little bit with romance as well, of course, so we'll see how that goes. Prompt number 17, booktube creators who inspire you. Mike's book reviews, number 1. John over at Talking Story is always inspirational, and Chris over at The Bearded Book Beast are the 3 main inspirational booktube channels for me. They are great. If you haven't checked out their content, you must, because they're always relied upon for really good content. They put out content regularly, which I look forward to, and they're just great. Prompt number 18, something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account or a channel. Look, my main piece of advice is, if you're wanting to do it, if you've been procrastinating about doing it for a long time, just do it. You don't need any special equipment when you're starting out. I started out with epoxy fisheye webcam. Then I eventually upgraded it to this one, which has served my needs, and I'm going a little bit further in 2025 and using a video camera and changing my setup here in the office a little bit. I'm on my 3rd mic that has taken me time to upgrade, which is at a reasonable standard now. You don't need any special equipment to start. You just need a little tripod and your mobile phone, because sometimes I do reading vlog videos outside on my mobile, and the quality is sensational, and that's all you need, because the mobile phones these days have decent microphones, they have decent cameras in there, and just set it up and go for it. You don't need to worry about just if you and ah like I do still, that's perfectly fine. I think if you love books and reading, you're halfway there. If you've got things to say, things will come naturally when you start filming. Just turn the camera on, be yourself, think up a cool, catchy name for your channel, have the content come out on a regular basis, try not to imitate people, make things your own, come up with your own ideas. I have spoiler-free reviews mainly on the channel. I don't go into spoilers too often, so that's one of my hallmarks there, but just get started, and you can always upgrade things later on as you move forward with your time on BookTube. You can invest in other equipment later on. I mean, I don't have special lighting in here. It's just an overhead light. I don't have green screen or anything like that. I don't think I need it. You don't need too much to get started, and if you've been wanting to do this for a long time, just get stuck in. And it's okay to be nervous as well. I still get nervous now, but that's definitely some advice I would give to anyone wanting to start their own channel this year. Just go for it, just do it. And that is all for the prompts here, so thank you very much for watching. If you're watching this, just consider yourself tagged and have a go, and just do this tag. It's a lot of fun, and it really holds you to account with what you want to achieve in the year, and you can keep referring back to it to keep you on track. But thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, and until the next video, guys, happy reading.